Look, we were good and they were quite ordinary, to be honest. We came out quite positive and chased them down, and we stuck to the game plan, which was to press them really high. It worked well. They struggled to get the ball into Pierro, and I guess the times he did get free, he did create some problems, had a couple of shots on goal, but besides that, there wasn't too much danger. Yeah, big fan of his. Very exciting. Not many opportunities I think I'd have in my career to play against someone like that, so I was never going to go play in the Serie A, was I? So to be able to play against him over here was fantastic. Fantastic player. We saw what he was capable of. He showed it in glimpses, but yeah, very, very exciting. Yeah, look, I think a lot of the onus is going to be on Pierro, and obviously him coming to the league is fantastic, but I don't think he single-handedly can win the league for them. I think you've seen over the past 2 games now that the defence has been quite shaky. Obviously they're missing a key defender in that Busharts, but look, I think you can have the best player in the world, but you know, at the end of the day, it's a team effort, and if the whole team's not pulling together, then you're going to struggle. You know, I knew with Louis that he was going to be fit in really well. He played most of the pre-season games, and he was the standout. Just wasn't sure would the nerves get to him, but he used those nerves and he was outstanding. And he was even good against Melbourne away from home, which is not an easy thing to do, go to Melbourne, your first away trip, and play in front of that crowd at that stadium. So, look, he's definitely one for the future, and one I think he'll probably cement his spot all year if he continues this way. Going into the game, they were probably the form team, beating Melbourne the way they did, not just winning 2-1, but the way that they won it. They were very dominating. They were pressing, and we knew that they'd come and press us, and they did that. We struggled in that first half to contain them. Our game plan probably wasn't right. We changed it at half time, and it worked a lot better for us. But yeah, look, I think they're going to be a good team. They just signed Vinny Grella as well into an already very good midfield of Garcia, Thompson, and Fred. So look, I think they'll be, you know, definitely in that top 4 area. Yeah, like I said, we were, if we said a point before the game, we would have jumped on it. You know, 7 international players missing from your starting lineup, 4 debutants. You know, it's always going to be tricky, but look, they were exceptional. I thought they were good. I was a bit worried, to be honest, to see how they'd handle it. You know, you see them play against the local league players in pre-season, and they look good, but do you think, can they really step up to the A-League? And you just don't know. It's a big unknown. But I thought all of them, Bissy as well, Rowie, they all handled it really well. He was very good. You know, for me, he probably could have been our best player. He intercepted one off the goal line, which was crucial at a crucial stage. Did his job well. Couldn't really fault him, to be honest. I thought he was very good. Rowie, you know, I think we've got a great replacement for Lockie if he ever gets injured or lack of form or retires. Yeah, he's getting that up pretty old. And Bissy for me was the biggest one. I thought it was a real big gamble from the coaching staff to play him as the number 10. Like I said, they do well against local clubs, but we're winning 4-5, 6-0. To jump to the A-League, he's you know, 3, 4, 5 steps above what he'd been used to. But you know, he looked composed. He looked good. You know, step overs in the box, taking people on, and that's what you want from the young boys. And I kept telling him, in those areas, do what you want to do, take them on, and I guess that was a message from the coaching staff as well. You know, don't go into your shell and think, you know, just play 5-metre passes. Take them on in the right areas and work hard, and you'll get yourselves into the game. And I thought they did really well. Look, I think they're going to be very good. Probably the team to beat again. You know, watching that Melbourne game, I don't think anyone expected them to win so convincingly. Like you said, there were some players missing for Melbourne, but you know, they still had a lot of good players out there. They had a lot to prove. Obviously, the Ange factor, you know, was a big talking point before the game. So the players would have been fired up to perform for him. They didn't. They were poor. Brisbane were very good. And they seem to have a different philosophy this year than when it was Ange. Obviously, with Ange, they passed the ball to death, and you know, under any circumstances. But under Rado, they've given him, well, he's given them the license to go long if they need to go long. And one of their goals came from a long ball where Mitch Nichols cut it back for Berisha. And yeah, look, and even when they get the ball out wide last season, they just wouldn't whip the ball in for the sake of whipping it in. And now they look like they're just crossing. So they've added another dimension to their game, and they're going to be very hard to stop. Well, I think now they they've got two styles of play that they can produce at any time. Last year they were pretty predictable, and we got some good results against them because we kind of knew what they were going to do, and they never wavered from that. So sometimes we deployed the bunker system and got ourselves in the trenches because we knew that they'd come at us and play them on the counter-attack, and we got a great result against them in Dunedin. But I think this year, if they get in those wide positions, they're just going to whip the ball in, and it's going to make our job a lot harder instead of so predictable as they were last year, I guess. But look, they're going to be tough on Sunday. Obviously, we're at home. We're going to be confident. We'll try and press them. But, I think they deserve a lot of respect, but not too much. We don't want to sit back and have to defend like that. Yeah, look, I think... I don't think in general play Berisha does a lot. He's an absolute poacher. You just watch his runs off the play, and he just runs to the middle of that penalty box, and balls just get delivered into him. So I think if you can stop that service to him, he kind of rules him out. So I think Broish and Nichols are the two key guys we need to stop. If we can do that, then it'll go a long way for us securing the win. But look, he's a great finisher, Berisha, but I think he's mostly a goal poacher in and around the box. So the service, if we can nullify that, I think it'll go a long way to beating him. Look, I think Brisbane, obviously, for me, are the standouts at the moment. Perth look like a solid unit. They were probably unlucky on the weekend against Central Coast. Those two teams, I think in the A-League, if you've got hard-working players that are organised, which Perth and Central Coast are, they're always going to be around that 1, 2, 3, 4 position. That's what the league's about, being organised and physical, and they've got that. So I'd probably have to say those three are probably the three standouts at the moment. Yeah, no, actually, it's living over here. You don't get to see many Socceroos games, so it's more All Whites for me at the moment. Watching the games, read today that Siggy will be playing, which is fantastic. Fantastic for the Phoenix supporters, fantastic for him. But yeah, I think because I've got such a close ties with all the players, I really enjoy watching the All Whites games, which is on soon. But yeah, I've got a keen interest in it. Yeah, I think 3-0. 3-0 should be. Siggy to get on the score sheet again. Why not?